actually, I need to take a screenshot of this. Commander Zimbadan is...
Oh dear! Wait.
Are you stuck, Sid?
have I got...
Thank you for the follow,
have I got
Negative Static,
access to,
aka
have I got
Campus.
access to drop a Discord link?
You're welcome to do so on mine. I don't have any requirement for permit to drop links.
Fine.
Oh wow.
I've dropped it in Neverwinter chat. I don't know where's the best channel to...
There is a lot of channels. Oh, okay.
There you
There
go.
we go. Zip is free.
With the old
Fly
boost.
away.
I really love watching the little killbacks engines just wiggle and waggle all over the place.
Yeah, they just go. That's just precious.
I've never seen a killback doing that before. I've never paid that much attention to them.
Oh, so a Cobra's too big for this. Let's just see if an eagle fits.
Wait.
I
Let me
don't think
go.
it's going to fit.
Do you have a link protection in your chat, Bernard?
Do I have what in my chat?
Link protection.
No, I
or
don't.
Something. Good.
I think your Imperial Eagle might have trouble because of the nacelles. I don't know if an Eagle will be able to make it.
Even the regular eagles are kind of a pain to get through the gates here.
There we go.
No,
Didn't seem
I
that
don't
hard.
think anything. I don't think anything's going to fit through that.
Well, I just flew through it.
You can fly through them. It's just not super graceful.
Oh,
Well, I think the eagle could do it if they went into that diagonal. Let me try.
Yeah.
This. Oh,
oh, sorry. Let me get out of your way.
right. Let me try and see if after seeing your attempt, I'm going to try it like this. No, then.
I think the nacelles on the Imperial Eagle are just a bit too much. Hello, Panda Jim.
Cupcake, can you zoom in a bit on me, please, so I can try and see how I'm going to squeeze myself through this gate?
Excuse me, what?
Oh,
Can you come closer to me so that I can see how I can get through this?
I reckon you can do that. But you might need to do like nose down, butt up.
Mm.
Well, I mean, even if you rotate yourself slightly, it'll fit.
I think we're going to try and see if we can just go in diagonal. And... there we go. I'm through.
You're through.
That's awesome. And is everyone going to try?
Yes. We figured out that a Viper can do it.
What?
Yeah,
Tom's
the
doing
side
alright.
one
Tom's still
actually
got
makes
shields.
it through pretty easy.
Oh, really? I wouldn't have guessed.
Brother Sabathius is still having a really good go at it. I don't think the Cobra's going to manage it.
I think you can manage, like, these larger gates right here, I think you can go, yeah, sideways through with an eagle.
Okay, once you're done, Mr. Let me try something. I'm definitely gonna...
Oh.
Okay.
Well, that's going to hurt.
Actually, not as much as I thought.
How are you finding the Eagle Cupcake?
I actually like it. It's different, but I like it.
How would you say
it
that
is.
you're...
He doesn't have the enhancer.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as twitchy as ours.
Oh, we're going to have to get you set up with a proper racing Eagle.
Proper eagle? Okay,
Yeah,
proper
stunting Eagle.
I think you should get an eagle with Dumbfire missiles, and I think we should have some fun.
Here, let me link my stunt plane.
Yeah, I'm
build.
surprised the shield's held as well. It's interesting, to be fair.
And what would you say if your level of comfort in flight assist off just normal cruise flying, not just combat now? Do you reckon you might be able to give it a go?
I'll see. I'm still fidgeting, but for how much I was fidgeting when I was learning flight assist, like normally flying and docking, I feel like this is good.
Yeah.
Because normal flight for me was horrible.
I'm just watching Zubadian with their little like
oh
thrusters
no.
wiggling.
Oh no!
Oh, what's happening?
I'm obstructing the landing pad, and I'm now a criminal.
Uh oh.
Oh.
Oh boy.
Do I have a lamppost inside my ship? Let's find out where Tom is. You gonna let me target Tom?
Tom. It's in front. It's Tom.
I actually never thought that this actually looks like a brilliant SRV racing place.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that looks like a proper organised track. You know, as in designed for racing.
Maybe. I definitely have seen people doing races around structures like this. Might even be this one if this is the only place that's quite this level of complexity. I don't know.
So, the that track only makes like a halfway around the station, and then there, in the back end of the station, there's a lot more weird stuff.
Weird
You'd have to, yeah, that you'd have to like. There's this big, I don't know, what do you call it, building right here.
RK says you should put mining lances on the killback bays. I agree. I believe Baze should put mining lances on his killback and then take it into combat.
You tell him to make a quad rail keelback.
Quad rail killback Baze. You can take on Lyela's quad rail T7.
Quad rail Asp Scout.
You could do a sectuple rail Asp Explorer if you really wanted to.
I woke people up. Okay. Not loitering. Sorry, I'm just very bad at this. Docking privileges restored. Okay, good. I didn't get a fine, which is good. I don't know why.
I assumed you would be in the Discord base.
Wait.
You're welcome into the chat. We're in the bakery Discord. Let me just do.
Oh, I don't want to be killed.
It's the second of those links. We're in the elite chat, audio chat there. If you want to come and join us.
Stay away from that area. That gets you into the zone of the landing pads.
Yep. I saw that. I went in and almost got blown up to bits, but it's okay.
At conga time, Tom wants a conga line.
Oh.
Afraid of pastry.
Who's afraid of pastry?
Baze is afraid of pastry.
Oh, well, Baze. I mean, are you afraid of me? Technically, I'm a... Yeah. Cupcake. I love the way the...
Oh, negative.
Oh.
I'm also known as
surprised
compass.
this little eagle's shields are still, you know, good.
Well, to be fair, you're not actually doing a lot of speed.
Yeah, but I'm slammed like 3 times already and I lost 1.
So the nice thing about having such a tiny ship is when you hit things, you don't hit with very much mass, so you don't do very much damage to yourself.
Yeah.
The other thing is,
Can you
because
imagine if I was in the chieftain?
your shields are already so small, it's very little that it needs to recharge. So they come back very quickly.
What everybody's doing here, I'm assuming that everybody's doing it flight assist off, is I think is really good because I learned flight assist off at slow speeds, and if everybody's just coasting around this spaceship looking, dodging all the obstacles, that is a good learning level right now.
Can you actually land somewhere inside here?
I don't see why not.
What was that?
No, it's saying unsuitable terrain when it's quite flat.
Yeah, it says unsuitable terrain.
But would that say that on every section of this?
Yeah, it looks like it. But you can still just put yourself down, it just won't let you deploy the SRV.
Yep.
It might not be as stable. I know that when you get outside you can land. I don't think you have to go very far outside.
I don't know why I haven't been here before. This place is such... It's interesting.
Well, I think the science facility at Santu has got a lot more tunnels, which is a lot more interesting for learning flight assist off.
Yeah, I think that'll make a
and-
good
and-
next session.
Oh, sure.
I'll have a little explore and see how annoying it is for NPCs turning up as well. Because before December, it wasn't such an issue. You could go there, nobody would turn up, or you'd get like maybe one NPC bobbering about. But since they introduced the events that happen when you go to the installations, I found them frustrating places to try and go and learn without having
Tom, are
enough
you
NPCs
stuck
harassing you.
again?
It might be that we need somebody to go and trigger the event until it's done, and then we just wing in on them once that event's passed, you know?
Oh, I don't think I want chips with my ice cream, Mark.
You're not putting it in your ice cream, you're not.
Okay, well, I will be when it gets to my belly.
So that little hangar thing that Tom was parked in, if you are docked up and you've got an SRV, then you can launch your SRV and it will bring you out there. And then once you want to go back to your ship, you can request docking.
Oh, that's cool. I want to do that now.
And I believe there's something similar at all of the land bases, but I'm not entirely sure.
Are you saying
Well,
Tom
since-
found a landing zone in the station?
The next session should
If you-
be in around a month, so you should be back. So-
If you land at a pad and then you go to your roles panel, you can deploy your SRV at a ground base, and it takes you out of these little bay doors underneath each of the pads.
I did not know that. That's cool.
I discovered that you could do this whilst on Distant Worlds 2. I was parked up at one of the bases that was one of the rest points along the way, but I wasn't aware of how to get back into your ship afterwards. You basically have to request docking like you would if you were a ship going into land, but you just
Would
your
you not have
SRV.
to dismiss it and then recall it then into the
No, because your ship's parked up at landing pad, so it's still technically inside the bay.
Right.
So you have to request docking from the SRV to tell it for it to tell you to go back to that point, to go back to your ship. But I couldn't.
Right.
I didn't realise this, and I couldn't figure out what it wanted me to do. So in the end, I just drove my SRV up to there. Got really frustrated, tried to drive on and over the pad. Got myself a fine. Ended up
Zim,
killing
what
myself
happened?
so
Are
I
you
could get
stuck
back to the
somewhere?
ship. Where's the belly?
Also, that link is sister. If you don't know her, just click that. She's an awesome streamer. So-
Darth Jazz Hands. This is LHS 3006. And it's the ground base
Oh.
Aspirin Palace on the planet Vulcan. And where's the baddie? And let's see if we can get them out. I'm assuming you've tried landing gear toggling. Oh, you're well and truly in there, aren't you?
I want to see that.
So it's a tight fit, but you can actually fit an eagle in these little SRV places.
Yeah.
Sideways.
Oh, Zeb. Oh,
Let's see if I can. That made any difference? Or it just got us both stuck?
Did you get?
There you go. Freedom!
Oh, I can't get a car like an SRV here. I wanted to. I really, really wanted to, but I guess I can't. Oh, but the fact that it's called Aspirin Palace.
Right, I've just Sanderling's just authorised Stay in Unicorn and Tetra onto Newton's Gambit, so extra channels will be available for them.
Superb. I was about to say something, but I completely lost track of what it was. So it probably wasn't very
Sorry.
important.
Don't worry, I keep forgetting what to say myself at all times.
Oh, that's it as well. If anybody has access to head tracking of some sort, I have a track hack clip. Some people have access to VR. Or you can also just do you can set a fixed position, but I find it's much easier to do when you've got an actual head tracking of some form. But something that I quite enjoy doing as a flight assist off drill or flight assist off practice is to just nose down and then look out the top of your cockpit, and then use your directional thrusters just to move you about, but so that your facing is where your head's looking. Oh, so that your vector and your movement is in relation to where your head's facing, and not in the relation to where your nose is facing.
Wait, is someone getting shot at?
Not on my radar.
I may have imagined that. Never mind. But Darth Jazz Hands, we're in my private group, so if you want to come in, I'll have to accept you in the private group.
Yeah, we did have Deadpool turned up to gank us, so the sensible thing was to go into private group rather than just be there as permanent punching bags.
Is it all of RSM or just Deadpool?
Just Deadpool.
Oh boy.
I mean, he wasn't particularly rude about it. He gave us a salute and then shot me and then started shooting Jack Little, so...
And
Yeah,
I
Deadpool's a
left.
pretty cool guy.
Yeah, and then I left before he can destroy me because my rebuy isn't as tiny as the stock Sidewinder.
I mean, part of the reason that I suggested stock Sidewinders was if we were going to do it in open and something like that happened, it would limit how much was at risk, so...
Well, that's one of the reasons you do Racing Eagles. Like, barring a quad rail FDL, most of you should be able to get away.
Yeah.
And even then, it's got to be like someone like me or Despy that gets all of you.
If you can boost at like 700 plus, then you're fairly safe from a gank attempt if you see it coming. If you don't see it coming, then you're in something so fragile that you might be screwed either way. But if you see it about to happen and you can boost away from it, then it's relatively low risk that it's going to be a kill shot on you. I was getting my Imperial Eagle engineered up, and that had a boost of I think probably about 700. And the person at Dekiat that wanted to gank me got a couple of rail shots off, got my shield down, but I was basically a dot on the horizon before they managed to do any lasting damage. So. Oh, Cupcake, Darth Jazz Hands is on PS4, so he can't join us either way, unfortunately.
Oof.
But he was interested in, I assume they were interested in just the location for SRV tracks.
Oh no. Well, one thing I will say, I find it better than the Sidewinder, definitely 100% to be in this Eagle, and maybe I'll be using it for next time.
Well, the thrusters are more responsive. There's no getting around that.
A lot more responsive. Yes, you can, Baze.
I believe they sell A-rated Eagles at Santu. It's been a while since I've been back there. But even if they don't, it's not a long trip by any means.
I mean, the main thing is getting and use the turret to shoot each other. Yeah, I don't see why not, Baze. You might get in trouble for shooting inside the base. I don't know. I haven't tested that.
Tom, that was interesting.
But Baze, if you see on my stream here, if you land at one of these pads, beneath the pads, these little entranceways here. If you land at the pad and then you go into your old panel and you deploy your SRV like you would normally, then it pops you out of these little entrances here. And then when you want to go back to your ship, you go into your left-hand panel, request docking like you would normally. and then it will take you back to that point to go back in.
Do you have to request docking at the same place that you entered, or any? Oh, it'll take you. Tell you where to go. Why did they boost?
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, I've not actually successfully done it because the only time that I tried doing it was on Distant Worlds 2, where I ended up with a fine because we won't go into the entire stupidity of how I didn't understand you just had to request docking. But as far as I'm aware, it will just tell you to go back to that location.
Okay, Sabathius. Hope everything is okay. See you later.
Yeah, I'll catch you around, brother. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for joining us and having fun with us.
Apro went far from the station and recalled the ship. Yeah, I think sometimes these things are not made the most obvious.
It's a feature, not a bug.
Yeah. And Zabadian saying they got ganked in a Side and a Decky at first shot left 14% hull health and second shot killed, which is kind of what happens if you're flying around in a Side and you're not geared to run away at the drop of a hat. You can get pretty tanked outside, but if somebody's looking to really deep in, then they're gonna get you.
Who honked? That scared the crap out of me.
You've got to memorize your dock, believe. It says Jazz Hands. I don't know, maybe. Yeah. I guess it depends. I would probably assume that the nav compass would point to where your dock is, but maybe it doesn't.
Yeah, probably. Really? You gotta memorize it? Oh well, frick that.
Or it might show up above the dock.
Yeah, it will probably show up somehow. Who's honking? You must construct dinner. DHC? Oh gosh. Okay. Good food usually is. Yeah, I guess. 3D print some food. Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, I saw that coming. Kinda crunchy. Just called for a rescue zip. Where are you?
I'm following Commander Lulu.
Yeah.
And and she seems to be having a good level of control.
Lyell is quite an experienced flight assist off pilot.
Right.
Let's just say. He's here to join in the fun, but is more likely to teach than to learn.
Hi, Matt.
Well, you never know. Like,
What?
not above learning anything.
Give me your phone and I'll unlock it then. Mark, I can't hear you too well, but just listen.
Can you ring my phone?
Or ring your phone.
Oh dear.
Darth Jathan's going to test whether or not you need to memorize your dock now, which will be interesting. Busy large places like this are probably quite annoying if you don't have some clear indicator for how to find your pad.
Bye bye, DHC. Have a wonderful dinner. My leg went numb because you all know that I sit very horrible.
Hey,
And now
Marky.
it's
Hey, Marky, that's
not
the
okay.
phone going. That's the phone ringing, Mark. Go find it.
I'll just park up here like this.
I'm bingo on fuel. Okay.
Ooh, I'm pretty close myself. Got a 1C fuel tank on this.
But on the plus side, the less fuel you have, the faster you go.
That was the one of the fighter the NPCs that said that I refueled when I docked. Plus, it's a brand spanking new Eagle.
But yeah, something that you'll find increasingly as you get more comfortable with the flight profile of whatever ship you're flying will be how effective the different directions of thrust are. What I tend to find quite a lot when I'm coming in quite fast to a location is rather than trying to use my reverse brake my reverse thrust as a direct brake, or trying to use directional thrust, what I'll do is I'll point my nose and a few of my thrusters in a direction. I'll start. We refer to it as tricording, which is pushing down 3 different directions of thrust at the same time. and I can then use my nose to point me in a direction to apply most of my thrust as a reverse, but also still have some sort of some control over what my sort of general vector is at the same time.
Oh, you're welcome, Zip. Where am I going?
Do you want to zip
Okay,
that?
I guess here is where I'm going. Okay, that's nice. I mean, one day. Oh, well, I was just about to. One day, I want to fly like that. Maybe not crash. I mean, I wouldn't have the crashing down.
I mean, we can help you crash if you want to learn to crash.
I'm
No,
going to
I
attempt
have
to
the
push
crashing
through this
down.
tunnel.
But...
Yeah.
Ouch.
Are you going next,
Oh.
Cuppy?
Sure.
I'm stuck.
Oh, well, wait.
Well,
I
Cupcake
do
might
not-
help you get unstuck.
Yeah, well, let's see. Wait. Come on, capacitor.
I was going to try twisting it.
Have you tried landing gear toggling?
Oh, that's an
There we
idea.
go. That was my
There you go.
contribution.
Pep top. Good shot. Good call.
Yeah, the landing gear toggle resets the pit box, so usually it will release you from a stuck situation.
Now I have to pay my fines.
Was that for speeding?
Yeah, reckless flying.
Oh dear. You are quite bad for reckless flying. I hear you get fines for it quite a lot.
Yeah. Good thing this thing has a auto-dock computer so that I don't have to worry about anything.
Oh, that's definitely cheating.
That
Oh.
is cheating, but I don't
Oh.
care. Look at me, look at how good. Oh, I wish I saw that, but I only saw the tail end of it. Oh well.
Is this with the auto-dock computer on?
Yep.
Does it? I mean, how does it cope with obstacles?
I
Oh,
don't know.
oh, look at that aggression.
Apparently, it's coping fine. Oh my god.
Well, that'll do it.
Did I see someone die?
Yeah.